Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Realism Invictus. This is the Asharid Het. After once again a rather long delay since my last upload, I do apologize to those of you who are watching along. I am not going to renege on my originally stated intention to follow this all the way through. My job has been pretty busy lately, and in my leisure time outside of work, playing a video game on the internet isn't at the highest level of priority, as I'm sure you can understand, but I do intend to follow this through. So I think this is a really good game, and there really isn't very much content for it on YouTube, surprisingly. I know Civ 4 is an old game, and most of the Civ 4 community probably just plays vanilla anyway, but this mod is of such high quality that I am relatively surprised that I don't know that there's any 3.6 content. I haven't really looked that hard, here and there a little bit, but outside of this Let's Play, I'm not sure that the current version of the mod has really any representation on YouTube, so for those reasons, I'm certainly happy to invest the time to put it out there and allow you all to watch along and see what the great experience it provides is. It's just not at the very top of my list, and I hope you can understand that. So, but it had been nearly a month once again, so I'm going to go ahead and record another episode. I've got some time to myself, and this is just a good time to do it. So, we had just taken Tenochtitlan from the Aztecs. I made a blunder with going for the other city, but then he sent his army down south, retook this city, which allowed me to take this one because I think he removed several of his city garrison defenders, which pretty much enabled that. And now he doesn't have the means to outproduce me, so I'm going to absolutely go for a full conquest here. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And I was actually just taking a look at the foreign advisor before recording. It's interesting that almost everyone, in fact, everyone except the Ethiopians, I believe, is in a separate war. If we count that in pairs, at least, like with each other. The Swedes and well, Montezuma's at war with me and the Swedes. The Chinese are at war with the Inca. But yeah, they're only at war with each other. The Koreans and the Persians are only at war with each other. But there's a lot of disparate war, which is an interesting scenario because usually when there are large wars this early in the game, it tends to be acceptance of solicitation to join existing ones, and there's one mastermind, if you will, behind it. But in this case, there's just a lot of war going on. However, as I remarked before, this is kind of a war map. Most of these leaders are warmongers. I know he is. Montezuma is perhaps only second to Hitler in terms of warmonger frenzy. To my mild surprise, Tupac of the Inca was likely to declare wars. I think Reza Shah is. Not sure that this really matters, but just to sate my instantaneous curiosity. Unlikely, okay. So he's not a warmonger, but he probably was attacked by Gojong, who I think is... Oh, no. However, in some of my single-player games, I've noticed, and honestly I can't remember if he initiated this war or not. I think he did, but regardless, in many of my single-player games, I've found that the very unlikely to declare war people, I talked about Konrad Adenauer of the Germans, but other so-called very unlikely to declare war leaders seem to be really trigger happy with declarations of war, and I do wonder if that's a Gandhi effect, if you will. I'm sure at least a few of you are aware of the gag that Gandhi is the biggest nuclear warmonger in the game, and that technically was, in fact, true ever since Civ 1 because his AI was written to have the lowest possible value for nuke build, but something about scaling the difficulty, I believe, caused that the buff in. I don't remember exactly how it happened. I'm not sure if it was difficulty related or not, but something caused that value to be basically told to decrease even more. But since it was already at the finite minimum, it errored out into an infinite max. So the AI Gandhi ended up building nuclear weapons with an enormous priority, which is, of course, entirely out of character with the historical Gandhi, which makes it funny and kind of an enduring joke in this series, which is now over 30 years old. Um, but I wonder if the same kind of logic is going on here. I think that's quite possible. It might merit some testing because while there are other factors that may incentivize a war declaration, um, in my recent single player game, for instance, I had another so called very unlikely to declare war leader break a long standing friendship with me when we were on the cusp of not pleased but friendly relations. And I believe I had 80% of his power, which is less, but it is comparable. And he was recently at war with a mutual enemy, and he turned around and attacked me and tried to invade me. I was on an island, and I destroyed his invasion, admittedly with some pretty good combat odds. Not like, you know, totally. It wasn't more luck than not, but there was some luck involved. Anyway, there wasn't really a strategic reason for him to do that that was immediately apparent, at least. And yet, he's supposed to be a peacemonger. We had very high relations. I had almost as much strength as him, so scenarios like that really do make me question if the same kind of thing is going on. But that's that. I figured that little mini rant was worth. Well, it's not really a rant, but side tangent is a more appropriate term. Was worth going into, but that is the extent to which it relates to this game. I was just saying that looks like we kind of have a war map, and there are a lot of disparate wars going on right now. We still have an enormous tech advantage. A couple civs have fortification. The Persians have elephant taming, but we don't have elephants ourselves, if I'm not mistaken. Nor are they even in our immediate vicinity, so that tech is not really important to us. By the time we get them, if at all, they will be entirely outclassed. Okay. Yeah, it's weird when you're playing a lot of different games of RI, and then you jump back to another one, you kind of lose your sense of momentum. I know I had built a lot of levies, and I guess from barracks, they have experience out of the gate. We can promote them, and I'm sending them down to the front. I believe my plan was to turn around and take Tlacopan, but I'll have to defend Tenochtitlan. We, according to the... Oh, that's the Koreans, never mind. I was going to say we were at 90% of his strength, which kind of amazes me if we're not higher than him at this point, because land area, population, and such also factors into that. So losing a city, even if hypothetically a large garrisoning army, abandoned a city, let the other belligerent take it, their power level would go down quite a bit, at least when you're dealing with small numbers of cities. So, having taken his capital, I would be truly surprised if he, according to the game, has a higher strength level than us. But yeah, in the context of trying to finish him off, I'm just going to review my cities, my build queues, and then we'll proceed with that. I'm going to turn resource bubbles on. They're a little bit of an eyesore, but in the early part of the game, I think they're important. Later on, when pretty much everything's hooked up, they just kind of get in the way. See, like stuff like this. I don't know why the AI governor would work a plain savanna over a improved cattle pasture, especially when you're building levees. We're over our happy cap, but food is an input of production for these, so that's definitely worthwhile. No other major inefficiencies that I can tell. I'll review this again once they're done, but that'll be in 9 turns for all of them. 5, that's the same input, and we have the commerce here, so that mine isn't better. But it will be to switch here. Well, that'll starve us. I suppose for now this is fine. We can build 2 more of our UU. That's probably going to be worth doing. I think I built... Do I have my heroic epic yet? I don't think so. If I do, then I'm certainly going to build my UU in the city where I have that for the experience bonus. I mean, we have the tech for it. Let me just look for it. It should be the Iliad, and I'm positive that I commented on it. I'm pretty sure I built it, though. Well, the Odyssey. I mean, I guess I can see... Yeah, it's still available to build, so no, I didn't. That would have been faster to check that way, but oh well. But in the midst of the war, I'm not going to invest in that for the XP. It's just going to be better to roll units out of the gate. Especially because a lot of them are going to die. It is fun when you can get some special elite units with high scaling costs. Really invest in them. And if you can start them out with, like, 3 promotions or something. Typically you need like a charismatic leader, a barracks. If you're charismatic conqueror with a barracks, stuff like that's really nice, but once a unit has that much experience, right, fresh out of being trained, if you will, it's easy to keep that snowball going. The problem is, the better the unit, the more likely you are to use it all the time, and therefore the greater the odds of it randomly dying to a low odds single combat are. It's funny because the human psychology, you lose one battle at like 99.4% odds. And yes, that is very unlikely, but if you've fought with that unit like 200 times in the game, then statistically you should expect that at that point. It's more likely than not. But anyway, one more levy here. Let me check my army composition on the campaign, because we're going to need to leave the capital here. He's going to probably throw units at us or assemble a new stack first. 2 skirmishers, 2 UUs, one with Alexander the General. So 1 more ram, 1 more skirmisher, and then like an archer probably would be good. I don't want to build a ram all the way up here. I guess that would move as fast as an archer. Let's do a composite bow next. That is actually an interesting thing. These are so ideally suited for city defense that with their scaling cost, the fact that they are good in the field as army defenders, and for the ranged aid they provide, to build them offensively, they get really expensive unless you like compromise defense in some of your cities, which if you have a big hinterland you can do, but that is an interesting early game strategic consideration. So yeah, we'll build 1 archer, send him down. I think it's not a bad move to regroup for a little bit as these new levies we're building make it down there. His empire is bisected, so he can't rejoinder with any new troops he builds between both halves without sending them through an area where I could potentially pick them off. I do have a general unit there who's highly promoted. This one I was going to defend with. I don't like the idea of having 1 defender in a city. The Chinese are at war with the Inca, but weirdly, because the AI in this game is pretty good. That stack has just sat there. Has just sat there for those grammar people out there, but I don't want to have a border city with warmongering, two of them technically, warmongering AIs and have one defender, so I'll leave this one here. I remember consciously making that decision. Market, I think it was because I had overseen this, or overlooked it, and already invested enough, so I'm going to follow through with my sunk cost fallacy and probably keep investing in something which isn't a great idea, but maybe in the long run it'll pay off. This city's still in its riot phase, and yep, that's that. So let me just check over real quick, make sure there's nothing really urgent or pressing that I skipped. I think all of the citizen placement was not ideal, actually. Yeah, let me just go straight back and check it. We did our capital. Spies aren't great, but it's better than any alternative. So yeah. Spies actually are pretty good, but it's situational. This early in the game, I'm not sure that's the best yield you can get, but I like how this mod forces you to develop the infrastructure for the stuff you want to focus on, or at least orient your whole society in that way with the unlimited specialist per civic thing, because in vanilla you could just totally min-max everything, and that's kind of immersion destroying, even for a highly abstracted game like Civ. So bearing that in mind, the spy isn't a bad choice. I'm going to keep this scientist. No, we're at war. I'm going to work this mine instead. Yeah, that's fine. This is a food poor city. Spreading irrigation this way. Once these farms get irrigated, it can grow later. But that's not our immediate concern here. This is a bad tile. This should be... Can grow one more time. 11 turns. I mean, the unemployed citizen... I mean, it doesn't have the food and the commerce as it is, but even an unemployed citizen has one hammer, so... Getting some commerce out of it or something would be better. Yeah, because once it grows, we can throw this food into more irregulars. It'll take longer to build a market, but that's fine with me. 3 turns isn't a big deal. Okay. And we have decent power ratio with everyone. We're not the strongest, but I don't think we're especially weak by perception either. And I want to see how I had promoted Alexander. City raiding, yes. Jumping over the walls of Tyre by yourself. Probably time to switch to something else. He's fairly close to another promotion. But this unit's already really strong, especially because these other cities are on hills, I think. 2 of them. And the unique unit he's attached to has a 25 hill strength bonus, a high base strength for this era. So yeah, with that city raider, I think it's time to branch out. It upgrades. Wait, does he ultimately upgrade to an irregular? Of course, you can promote that back out of the irregular line, and great general units don't have a monetary cost for upgrades, so yeah, he's just going to end up being a regular infantry unit throughout the whole game. Cool, alright. Hopefully we can keep him alive that long through regular use. But I think we've done enough for... No, we haven't. Let me check my tech. Paper. Why was I researching paper? They have fortification. I have a 40% bonus on that. I'm not really interested in building the Great Wall, and it's probably already been built. Don't need that tech. Those are the only 2 I don't have. So with everyone I have open borders with, I'm kind of leading the charge technologically, paper's kind of one of those gap bridging texts that unless you're going for this wonder, I mean, yeah, it's important for the great work of science, which isn't insignificant, but the immediate benefit of this is very low. The long-term stepping stone value of this is very high. And since we're so far ahead, I think this is probably one of our better choices. Siegecraft, I do need fortification for, but that actually might be a better immediate priority since we're at war. Catapults will be more efficient in taking walls down. I don't know. Okay, both walled. And we can't see his buildings in the fog. He may have ended up building a wall. He has them here and here. And we only have 2 rams in the field. So that, in this context, might be better to switch to. The other option we have is rudder, which is a very important economic tech because merchant families gives you an extra trade route in all of your coastals. No, all of your cities altogether. Yeah, which is a very big deal. Even at this stage of the game where trade multipliers are still fairly low. Militarily, it's very important navally, but we have basically no naval threat. If the Persians attacked us, I mean, sure, they could cross this gulf, but we're not really vulnerable at sea. If he lands an army, you know, we could just defeat him in the field, so I do think the wiser move here is to switch to this path. We get a bonus on fortification, and then we can build catapults or upgrade existing rams. So, paper is a good tech, but the interesting thing, and I don't know that I've commented on this, and in fact, yeah, it does upgrade directly quite nicely. That is one nice thing about Siege, is it does kind of have a linear path until the modern era when you can get these cool, like, long-range, slow-moving, fast-moving support artillery distinctions, but the game is usually in a pretty molded shape at that point. But anyway, I used to, in fact, not even too long ago, I've been playing Civ 4 literally since it came out in 2005, and I've been playing this mod since the end of 2021, so coming up on 2 years now. And it took me, because there's just a huge amount of content and information, and just learning this mod, even for someone who's already familiar with the base game, does take quite a while. And then once you have a sufficient basis in all of the content, you can kind of read the strategy in a way that's impossible at face value. Because I mean, just look at the density of this tech tree. If you haven't played this game, you're not going to forge meaningful strategies out of all of the things that these unlock in any kind of a first reading, unless you're a highly, highly intelligent person, which is possible, and the people that are drawn to strategy games, I suppose, are more likely to fall in that camp. But anyway, point being, it occurred to me some point after I had kind of gotten a good grasp of this. I don't know it inside and out, but I'm familiar with almost all of the content of this mod at this point. And then, not too long after I had reached that level of familiarity, it's like, well, I realized the tech tree, and I know I'm not really playing the game right now, but I guess for the sake of showcasing it, these little tangents are not without value. But I noticed this tech tree is more linear than the Beyond the Sword unmodded tech tree. And right off the bat, I'll go ahead and say that is true. It is more linear. But, and at first I was like, well, that kind of reduces the strategic depth of the game, because in the vanilla game there are a lot more options to beeline for certain things and try certain gambits, and that's kind of true, but it comes at the expense of the long-term depth that this mod provides. It makes the strategic decision making in the base game much more of a what kind of singular gambit will you attempt to employ rather than a very rich, dynamic tapestry of short term decisions that will accrue over the long term. At any given point, your tech options are usually, I don't know, 5 to 8 techs. There are times where you have like one or two choices, but that is quite rare. In every other case, you have the chance to emphasize one thing over another with a still broad range of options. And most of the benefits that these technologies confer to you at any phase of the game, although more immediately and sharply at certain points than at others, confer long term effects. It's easy to forget about the weaver's hut you built with, or weaver's shop, excuse me, with the weaving tech in the ancient era on turn, 48. But it's never obsoleted, and it's providing you with one commerce literally for the rest of the entire game from that city, unless that building gets destroyed, if your city gets conquered, or something like that. There are buildings that are civic dependent or that get obsoleted outright, and that in itself is a factor in the decision making matrix of should I research theology and obsolete my pagan temples? Where is it? Here, yeah. Because if I research theology, my pagan temples are obsolete. Potentially, I have invested heavily in an economic sense, given how early it is, in Stonehenge, which is a really handsome bonus to those pagan temples. Or maybe I've played games where I've built multiple of these wonders that boost the pagan temple, that makes that an important building. And maybe at the time that theology becomes available to research, I don't have a state religion that I founded, and I've only adopted it for a diplomatic bonus. In that case, the benefit of that religion, and in fact, if I have invested in Stonehenge or the pyramids or something, in all likelihood, I'm still running paganism as a civic, which, as I've commented before, you can have a state religion and paganism, which I think is cool because that is totally historically a thing, in as much as the civic represents like the normative laws of a society. But it presents an interesting paradigm shift in the what do I need now and how will this slowly influence the rest of the game, which is kind of topsy-turvy, if you will, from Beyond the Sword unmodded. Don't get me wrong, Beyond the Sword is a very rich, great strategic game, but the approach it takes to research is much more of constructing some kind of a really big Hail Mary tech path that you're going to use to define your whole game. And that can be really fun and satisfying. I'm not saying that it's bad, but the disappointment, tentatively maybe, that the tech tree in RI is more linear tends to come from that same perspective and not one of, if I get gunpowder when my opponent is in the high medieval with walled longbows, and I just get it early enough to build bombards to assist my late medieval melee, units to take those cities, then those cities, if I do succeed in taking them from this instant advantage, not instant, but the short-term advantage of focusing on this now to influence the rest of the game, if you take 3 healthy, large, thriving cities because you chose gunpowder at that moment and built bombards and attempted to conquer another city, instead of like, well, I don't know, this all looks tied together, so I guess clockwork. This has a lot of different things it does. Let's build clock towers everywhere. Then in 300 turns out of the 2200 on the standard time frame, the person that chose gunpowder over clockwork made a much better decision. Even though you can see all of these texts have so many different prerequisites and it looks so linear, that was still a very meaningful strategic decision. It's just the ramifications and consequences of that aren't visible in such a simplistic or short term basis. You have to have a pulse for the whole game and how it's tied together. But what short term thing can I focus on now to multiply, if not exponentially, at least significantly over the course of the game? And throughout, all these little choices you make really do add up in a very complex and slow, long term way, which is probably, well, I'll go ahead and say, I think it's more strategically satisfying than the base game where I'll bulb to Oracle and then use Oracle to get some military tech so I can whip a certain kind of unit and conquer two civs, and then I'll snowball through the rest of the tech tree. That's not without strategic depth or value or anything like that, but in as much as this game seeks to have strong historical flavor and some plausibility around its core of being a strategy game, that kind of damages the immersion. And in this, something like later in the tech tree, something like, air superiority requiring flight and machine gun, when at the time, I guess earlier aircraft still had machine guns, but like the firepower of an aircraft from the World War II era would have a prerequisite that an early fighter wouldn't. Um, these prerequisites are kind of historically modeled on how things actually played out in a way, but they tie the tree together such that you're not really able to do huge reaches in a way that's just not historically merited at all. In the base game, you could have, I don't know, some kind of military unit that would be like unfathomable without, preceding economic tech. And while it is more linear, there's always a different branch you can grab to climb it. So, anyway, some of you watching probably haven't played this mod or aren't super familiar with it, in which case this hopefully is a good preface to the approach that it takes. Those of you with some familiarity, hopefully that expands your appreciation for what you already kind of know. But I just wanted to make a comment there because, in my experience, it took like over a year of playing this with some decent regularity as a working adult in my leisure, just to know enough about all of this to think, wait a minute, this is a lot more linear and we don't have choices that we could, we can't construct the same creative strategies. And I've come to find with a little more experience that that's a misguided way to view it, and it really fails to appreciate the way in which this actually increases the strategic depth relative to the base game. And I rather like it. I don't know that it's perfect. Like, it could be tweaked. Maybe one thing here or there should be moved along. I've helped playtest this, and some of my suggestions were deemed pretty sensible, but like that's not going to change the big picture. So, and this being a game about like the grand sweep of history, a tree where you can't like escape something that is even historically plausible is more satisfying to that sense. And so, all considerations of strategic depth aside, you have more immersion for that reason. So anyway, let us now proceed to the actual game. We've done enough review. I'm going to go ahead and end my turn straight away. The Aztecs are going to do a bunch of stupid moves with their naval unit that don't do anything, and I think that's it. And we're still healing. For everyone to heal here, 5 turns, fine. We're still reinforcing, and as I said, he can't really bring his units together very easily. I think we have everyone rallying to this jungle hill, which will be easy to defend. That does appear to be the case. Good deal. Now, I say easy to defend. Actually, that might be a naive assumption because the Aztec units, I know the Mayans do. I think the Aztec units might have jungle bonuses. I've commented on this before, and I won't make this another long thing, but um, every civ has a distinct unit roster, and oh, that's like that is wimpy for the Aztecs. And so everyone has like unique units, unique buildings, a unique improvement, several leaders. Gives a lot of civs like their oomph, their this is what defines their flavor, their strong points. But even like the fairly mundane units sometimes have small bonuses that you wouldn't notice, which still kind of complement that leading edge they have elsewhere. Like, let me just guess. I know the Aztecs a lot less well than some of the other civs, but I'll go ahead and assume that, like, their warband, yeah, precisely. 15% jungle defense and attack. And that's kind of part of their flavor. The Mexican Central Plains are not as jungle laden as, like, the Yucatan Peninsula or the Mayans are, but still, that's part of it, and our warband is not going to have that jungle bonus. Instead, where are you? Whatever, we'll do it this way. Instead, we have, yeah, archer and recon bonuses, which is not insignificant at all, but those little things, you always want to, like, consider the unit roster of a civ you're at war with. So defending in this jungle, it does provide a huge defensive bonus, which outweighs that, but you don't want to not consider their warband has that bonus. However, we have medieval levies, which are 50% stronger than warband from the get-go, but still, case in point, you don't want to not consider that. If we were in the same era, we had tech parity, that could actually be a big deal, especially if it was like a flat jungle instead of a hilled one. Oh boy, slaves. Okay, I thought that was the city rioting from war weariness. I'm sure that would have stuck out if I. Yep, precisely. Don't leave one archer here. I'm sure one archer can handle 4 slaves, but still, you just don't want your whole city to hang on even like high 90% odds, because that totally can fail. Human psychology, but it really is easy to think, oh, that can't happen, and it really isn't even statistically that unlikely given the number of rolls throughout the whole game. I will fortify here. Yeah, with a fortify bonus and 75 terrain, like, even with their jungle bonus, that's not going to make that big of a difference. That would be funny if they went for a different city. They'll probably go for Thermopylae. In fact, I don't think this archer has any combat experience. No, it doesn't. So we can promote it to, we got this out of the gate, I think. Because, yeah, one experience isn't enough to promote. If they go for Thermopylae, um, well, actually, these are medieval levies. I should have remembered that. I just commented about our own levies being nothing to sneeze at. So I'll send one guy down here to help in the meantime. I'm pretty sure with walls they're not going to take 2. Like, that would be a miracle. Watch it happen now. Let's get rid of this jungle. The peasants are levying. Oh, he is going for another city. Hilarious. Uh-oh. Tax breaks removed. That's kind of funny. While I guess in some real way that is, um, you know, a meaningful concept in like early medieval society, but read my lips, no new taxes, but like you just conquer this city that hates you and it's sick in this disgusting jungle floodplain, and you offer it a tax break to placate its unruliness, and it works. And then when the tax break stops, I'm sure there are lots of real ancient examples of something like that, but the term tax break just has a amusing modern context to it. Yep, he's gonna go for that Chinese city, which probably this stack made vulnerable by moving away.
A nail secures the horseshoe, the shoe the horse.
I'm not interested in building it, but I am curious if not the Chinese Wall, if the Great Wall has been built yet. Probably. I'm gonna assume. Let's alphabetize it. The Great Library Lighthouse. No, it looks like it hasn't. That is a nice one. It doesn't expire until explosives, which is pretty late in the game. I mean, it's not like late game, but it's like the end of the mid game. And 100% Great General emergence in your borders, that can really be meaningful. If you're playing super offensively, maybe not, but if you just maybe you Rexed and rapidly expanded in the early game, your odds of getting invaded are pretty high, and general units are really good. You get doctrines and traditions with them, you can lead units and get super units. It's not a bad wonder. We don't have masonry materials. Wait, yeah we do, we have paved roads, whoops. So it builds faster for that. So actually, 9 turns, that might be worth going for. The Great Wall of Macedonia. It's a bit noobish. I'll compromise, and the snobby deity player criticism, lol noob, build more units. Fine, I'll finish this one and then build the Great Wall after. If we lose it in 13 turns, then we'll have fail gold, which you guys like to pride yourselves on being super clever for utilizing, so it's win-win for me. Yeah, 20% instantly revolts. We can just reinstate the tax break or some other similar concession. I think I mentioned, but it's cool how the slaves, they're more inefficient than regular workers, and they have a chance of disbanding after the improvement. They also make pretty good military scouts. Ooh, that is so tantalizingly weak. I don't know that he really is in a position to counterattack right now. Yeah, I kind of think we have to go for that. And this guy's just promoted to strength and land tactics, so he will make an excellent city defender. I can even defend the slave as a scout. Only 1 movement units here. He does have horses, and he threw that chariot at us before. He might have a chariot in Texcoco, but they have a city malice. I'm going to go ahead and be bold here and move everyone except for the non-city specialized... Oh, and Alexander, of course. the non-city specialized UU and this skirmisher, so that some one lucky roll won't lose us the city altogether. But yeah, I think I mentioned at the end of the other video, yeah, we need to do this. Okay, the city provides basically no economic value right now, so tax break's a good idea. But it's weird because like the irregular unit is considered a weak unit, like a cheap cannon fodder kind of unit, and it is actually pretty useful in that role. But in situations like now, where you have a tech advantage, getting to this tech first, ironically, this is a strong unit. Like this is one of the strong. In fact, this might be. Well, I don't know. Maybe not with certain UU bonuses or something, but just a flat 6 strength standard infantry unit is right at this turn a strong infantry unit, when that's not what the unit role is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a cheap unit. Some kind of throwaway thing that's easy to build and has a low scaling cost. But yeah, I mean, his warband, 4 strength, which is basically the earlier version of the same thing. But I don't know, I just find the irony of this is supposed to be a cheap unit being like a powerful unit kind of funny. Okay. And it is cool. I might have mentioned it, but walls do a lot of things in this mod. One of them is they reduce the speed of non-gunpowder defense reduction. Since the city doesn't have walls, my battering rams, and I think I did mention this, but whatever, I'll repeat it if so. They're able to use their full minus 6% city defense per turn value per ram. If they had walls, it would only be minus 3. So your siege technology is important. Walls also provide happiness, inflict a, well, or rather, cause an additional huge city attack penalty on cavalry on top of their existing minus 40%. So they do a lot, and so, I mean, it makes sense historically. A city without walls in this era, when offensive warfare is kind of favored because there are cheap units that are high strength and well poised for city attack, a city without walls is kind of low-hanging fruit. Warfare, I think, favors the offensive in this era. At a time where, ironically, your economy can't really sustain a huge empire, so there's the other thing to consider. I mean, it can, but like, you're probably going to have founded a religion, have lots of luxury resources you can improve, and stuff like that. It's not vanilla where... Okay, to be fair, even in vanilla, you can't just, like, instantly conquer the whole world or your economy will collapse, but, like, the tech penalty you have for conquering cities is a big deal, and, here we go, there's a chariot. But commerce is actually rarer in this mod and harder to obtain because luxury resources typically have later techs to improve them, and it's just harder to get commerce. So holding together a huge empire on top of that tech penalty is kind of a big deal. Oh, we were building a bow and both. Right, I was going to send this one down to that stack, and I still will. Let's go ahead and build another skirmisher, because we were down to 2. And I want that full recon aid bonus. Okay, chariot died. Now they are bereft of defenses. Alexander's hungry for more XP. I'm actually going to just attack it one at a time so I can milk XP for him. Oh, we got another slave, sweet. I would bait one of the defenders, but they're skirmishers, so they're 2 move. He could take this slave and go back. I'll still use him as a scout, though. Later on, I need to see what stuff he has down here. Probably not much. Yep, see, your slave died after improvement was built. Well, thanks for the hard work. We'll surely build a plaque in your honor to the unknown slave. Yeah, we may not. Well, for these walled cities, actually, I'm glad I switched to siegecraft instead of paper because we can just upgrade our rams. It won't cost time so much as long as you're within your cultural borders. Although, I will make another quick side tangent. It is really cool. As early as like longbowmen, there are infrastructure requirements for upgrades. So, oh, Greece doesn't have a longbow. But just to show you, like in general, if you go to like the Welsh longbowmen, the English have a really powerful unit. The archery range is a requirement to build this unit. It's also a requirement to upgrade this unit. So like, even if you are playing as England and you have the composite bow, which does upgrade. I mean, this is tailored to our civ, which doesn't have longbows, but it'll say upgrades to longbowmen. You know what? Yeah, just for the sake of the example, let me go to England real quick. Archer composite. Oh no, yeah, it does redefault to your civ, but whatever. Okay, so like you have to have the archery range to build the longbow. But even if you're in your own cultural borders, which is otherwise the prerequisite for upgrading a unit, you can't just upgrade it to a longbow if you're the English or any civ that gets longbows. They are kind of a special unit that only about half of the civs get, whereas the crossbow is the alternative, kind of a more of a jack of all trades unit. But anyway, if you're trying to upgrade to longbows, they actually have to be in a city that actively has that building. And that gets even more cool later in the tech tree when like the physical technology becomes more important. Edward III's longbows required years of training and stuff, but it's still just a yew piece of wood. But when you get to like pre-dreadnoughts, you have to have a dry dock. You can't upgrade your like early steam warship to this unless it's in a port with a dry dock, which is a really cool thing. I don't know exactly what gave me that thought, but maybe it was the fact that battering rams to catapults don't have this infrastructure requirement for upgrades, which is cheap and easy, but like later in the tech tree, they do. In fact, let me see what it is for artillery. I mean, you need the resource artillery once you get to like mid 19th century guns, and I think that stays the case for these units, but that is an interesting concept that kind of enriches warfare a little bit. Like, if you wanted to get elite modern units, you have to pull them off the front. I think that came to mind because in this case we can literally just upgrade our rams in one turn if we're in our borders and we have the money. But that's not always the case for upgrades. So yeah, let's keep going. Okay, rams have done all they could to deplete. Well, rather, there's no more city strength to deplete. They can heal, they'll still provide their siege aid, which is currently giving us a first strike chance and a little 3% attack bonus. How do we want to upgrade Alexander? That's the question. I think this is tempting, but every time I do this, the unit dies anyway. And I don't think Alexander the Great himself would really be in favor of having a better time running away. I think Alexander the Great. What are my odds now? Still really high, even not at full strength. I think Alexander the Great would want 12% strength. This is an infantry unit after all. They're supposed to be the tough placeholder unit for anything. Let's do one more. And this scout, I could send him here. One, two. Yeah, it's still in. He has the road bonus. He could still take it and go back. I'll leave that scout. This extra army is coming along nicely. This game will always take me back to my childhood. Like as an adult, it's really fun. The just the historical representation and the strategic depth, but like the concept of this whole game is something I've played since I was little. Okay, no, you want me to make my masonry material industry uh, stop working for some Scandinavian sausage. No, thank you. Yeah, no, those are odds I will not risk. But actually, hey, 6 experience. Okay, so yeah, let me just test this because I'm wondering. I mentioned the if there's any city defense bonus, cavalry receive a big penalty. We have, assuming it's showing up correctly, 98.43% odds with 1% bonus. And as I understand it, that has to be entirely nullified. I want to see what difference that makes. Technically, it should be 1%. Let's see if this even does anything. So now it's down to fully zero again. And it's the same odds. So I don't know if that's working correctly, but at least theoretically it's supposed to happen. Tlacopan. We're going to take the city. I'll reinforce with this guy, and we'll let the other one heal. And I'll actually use you as a forward observer. And it looks like the Swedes might actually be planning to attack us, by the looks of it. No, they're at war with the Aztecs already, and I should have taken note of that. So, by the looks of these borders, the city is right here, and he's already sieging it. I'm still going to let Alexander heal all the way. If the Swedes take that, whatever, I don't really care. But when he heals, in fact, let's just join up now with these guys and go for it. If they take it, whatever. We'll just turn around and mop him up here. Siegecraft is in 4 turns. We can upgrade our rams at the front and then move in. But yeah, no, I'll take this city if he doesn't get it in time. And how many turns do you need to heal, Alexander? 4? Mathematically, it wouldn't be faster to forfeit one of those to come here. Yeah, so stay healing. Okay. Wow. Okay, so he diverted. Like, if he had even half of these units in this city, we would have probably still taken it, but probably at some loss. It looks like he decided to make this city the refuge of his, like, good defensive units, and he's not going to move them out, because then the Swedes will take it, or the Icelandic Commonwealth. Yeah, I guess Gustavus is the second Adolphus is a Swede. This is the Scandinavian civilization, technically. Interesting. I don't know. This city kind of sucks. It's 1 corn. If the Swedes take it, and they probably will, he's down to cavalry and skirmishers, which means he probably threw his infantry away, and he's reinforcing with this 1 axeman. Our relative culture, especially being only 1 tile away, will probably secure us this iron. Which, that was the... Ooh, that's a big revolt. Thank God for paved roads. Anyway, yeah, that was one reason we attacked the Aztecs. We were kind of in a position to do so, but I wanted the iron, which he has 3 of. That might actually be kind of a monopoly. I'm not sure who else even has it. They're not even really in the era to use it technically. I don't think anyone has armor crafting, which you need for the early iron units. But anyway, yeah, I'm not going to go out of my way to take this city. It's got a lot of cultural pressure with his own civ. It's just a bunch of jungle, a 2-away corn. We've pretty much already got this iron, so we kind of lucked out strategically with this. I might even just go north anyway. Um, yeah, yeah, in fact, we're probably in a position to wipe him out as it is. Yep, here it goes. They're going to have to cross a river attacking Corinth, which gives us a 25% defense bonus, but that's a pretty big revolt. Corinth might even be culturally established enough where, yeah, it's refined. In all likelihood, I'm not sure if I mentioned the influence-driven war thing, but if your cities have enough culture, they will spawn like partisan defenders, even if your garrison's fully destroyed. Um, and this is 7. It's actually quite a lot. If we lose it, maybe we can take it back the next turn. I don't think we're going to lose it. But yeah, slavery is kind of a medium risk, medium reward civic. It's not like... Because really, city defense in this era against like conventional large armies at least is easy. 1 or 2 archers, some walls, um, holds off even large slave revolts. But if you got 1 archer and no walls, or 2 archers and no walls, or 1 archer and 1 walls, I mean, you can only have 1, but I don't know. I mean, the city's really big. You could still lose it. Getting slaves from conquest and the hammers and improvements they give you is nice, but um, that comes at a price. I'll use you to garrison this city so we can move all the way out. He's not going to run away. Well, can he even? He's got a skirmisher. He can't get there in 1 turn. How long do you need to heal? 3 turns? We'll need to siege the walls anyway, yeah. Let's heal 1 more turn, that way he can garrison in time, because Alexander still needs his beauty sleep. Just like at Gaugamela, where he overslept and still massively won the battle. So in 1 turn we move north. I've decided I don't care about this city. As you can tell by the name, it wasn't even Aztec to begin with. In fact, I kind of hope this is some kind of war borderland that changes hands a couple times. Alright, this... I don't know, a fully fortified Garrison 1 first strike archer or composite bow. These are medieval levies. That would really suck to lose this city. Probably should have done this the other turn, but it's too late now. Yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. I don't think we're going to lose Corinth, but it's not impossible. I mean, it's on a hill, across a river, fully fortified. 2 archers with walls. But I don't know. 7, 6 strength attackers. That's nothing insignificant. We'll just have to leave it to fate. Yeah, by the number of sprites that have died, that's not really reassuring. Anytime they run up, it's like there's a chance that one of your guys is gonna die, yeah. But when they're just standing there taking arrows... can do it. Come on. Not good. Don't let him run up. He'll kill you. Yep. Oh my gosh, that was so close. That's a beautiful quote. Alright, so I guess they stopped attacking right when we did spawn a defender. But that was scarily close. It might even be time to switch out of slavery. I'm kind of tired of that. Like, it makes sense as a mechanic, but it's also honestly pretty annoying. How this happens all the time, and it's a flat percentage based on the number of cities you have. It's just, I don't know. Dealing with these revolts all the time is kind of annoying. Like, I'm glad, because otherwise slavery would be an overpowered civic like it is in Beyond the Sword by itself. But uh, yeah, that wasn't even the first time. We almost lost our capital to a slave revolt. For some reason, they keep spawning like at the highest possible threshold, but oh well. Euclid, what do I do with you? We need paper for our medieval work. Do I hold you till we get paper? Given our tech lead currently, I actually think that is a good idea. Swedish army's still there, yeah. Okay, another jungle cleared. I love this song. Secundum. Their AI should not allow them to heal. They're going to have to suicide or go to another city if I'm not wrong. They mathematically should not even be able to win right now, but that was so close. I mean, we might have spawned another defender, but I mean, that's another roll of the dice. That might have been like a 50% chance, who knows. So we were dangerously close to losing this city. That's the thing, like, I have these levies as offensive units, but running serfdom or slavery, they're liabilities because they can spawn up on their own too. Wait, nobody had siege works, so we can build this thing. And we do have bronze, so yeah, we can literally build this thing. It can't move through forests or jungles, if I'm not wrong. Or swamps, yeah. It can move on hills, though. Could found Islam. I don't know that I want to do that. Nah, that would be a waste. No elephant taming. Let's go back to paper now. But the case in point to what I was saying about the tech tree, this will allow us a short-term advantage, which will allow us to reach far in a long-range way throughout the rest of the whole game. So that was a strategically meaningful choice. I think we have enough levies down there. I'm going to just leave him as a garrison. Probably should have promoted him to drill 2 for the full first strike, but whatever. Okay. Yeah, scouting with the slave, interestingly. Okay, let's build a pasture there. Nope, that's fully supplied. It's not slowing down the heal. Okay, Alexander's done. Archer... Wait. I was going to use this guy as a garrison. Okay, you're a dedicated city defender. Everyone else, get ready to conquer. Where can this archer move in one turn? Forest. Let's meet up here. Everyone will rendezvous in this forest. Oh yeah, this is a nice army. Can upgrade the catapults one turn, and then the Aztecs. Hopefully we can defeat them in one fell swoop. He's gonna scare me off though with his advanced canoe maneuvering. And oh, what? No, same deal, not doing that. Ha! We got it! I always thought this was a cool video. Cool. Yeah, now we'll invest in the Iliad. Granary. Leave you as a defender and then build walls. And we just got siegecraft, so we can upgrade them in the next turn. Heal, and then... Actually, yeah, perfect. 2 turns to heal, because they move they can in the same turn. 1 more turn, the siege can upgrade. We can reinforce, and then keep rolling. Oh, what's this? He's actually attacking us. A bold move. At least we don't have to watch that thing move every turn again. Matter of fact, why haven't I even just done this? It's 50% odds. Let's let this thing heal and then we'll double team and do it then. Yeah, this whole thing is coast. Well, no, but you can move through oceaning your own territory. Yeah, we'll just go for his other galley. Okay. Ooh, we need 1 more gold. Does anyone want to help us? Sweden? Would you be so kind as to give me literally 1 gold? I could have asked for a lot more, but I thought that would be funny. Because now I can do that. We'll just run a budget surplus for a bit. We don't really need paper right now. We upgraded the catapults. Everyone else is ready to go. Oh, okay, excuse me. 1 extra turn. The upgrade was going to slow everyone else down. Wait, no. Someone still needs to heal 1 turn. Okay, no, I wasn't wrong. And then we can sweep through here and take him out. I'll let him just be a 1-city weakling civ. I don't need to totally wipe him out, but these cities are actually kind of mature. And this will become the new Aegean. Oh, he's gonna... Oh, he's not attacking. He's just getting ready to. First things first, let's get rid of this guy. 40% odds. Yeah, let's... How unfortunate. Okay. Alright, now that thing. I do like how the AI is like, enough is enough. the just random moving around isn't doing anything. Like it concluded that and decided that a suicide or high risk move into our coastal waters was just called for at this point. Okay, let's move in our 13 unit stack minus the slave. And let's go for Busan first. I'll actually leave these guys as defenders. I think we have ample offensive capability here, but I don't want this city to be too vulnerable. Because I don't know if he's been building units, but I don't know. I doubt actually he's built enough to like forfeit them as garrisons and go try to attack. The Persians, though, are they're not separately war with him. Last video I was like, why does he just have a stack here? He's not at war with him. I mentioned it before, if he declares war, he has to snap back to his borders, so I guess he's not really gunning for that city, he's just moving around. Moving through, I guess. Maybe he's about to attack me, he's annoyed. That would be funny. For that you know what? That might literally be what he's doing. Unfortunately, resource trades don't give you a mandatory peace treaty like tech trades did in the base game. I'm not sure that's enough. Well, it might be. I think he is probably going for me. He has open borders with the Aztecs. Yep. So he is probably going to move southwest and then down me if I move north, which would put me one turn away from him. You know what? We're not really in a losing position here. If he moves southwest, he's either going to commit to attack me in the next turn or move away. So here's one of those Civ 4 tactical moments. I'm just going to hold my ground and see what happens. He probably is going to move southwest and then attack me, and then I'll annihilate his stack if he does. But I'll wait 2 turns to see if that happens. Nope, he moves southeast, which will make it 2 turns away. And the Aztecs give Alexander yet more experience. Okay, and now Alexander is only 7 away from another upgrade. Yeah, you know what? If he dows me, fine. We're gonna take the city. He might. He really might. We'll see. The Persians are not currently at war with anyone. I might have overlooked that earlier in the video, but with all the disparate wars, I think he was at war with someone and peaced out, and I probably didn't notice. The Mayan Empire? I'm not aware of the Mayan Empire. Okay, I guess they exist too. Yep, that is precisely what happened, and he waited till I was 1 turn away to do it, because the AI in this game is pretty smart. Yeah, I'll turn back around and wipe him out first. The Aztecs aren't gonna outproduce me, so... Yep. That was kind of cool, though. I stayed there, they moved away, and then they tried to fake me out going through the other pass. That's good, interesting tactics. That's one reason this game is just cool. Like, sure, you don't have, like, Hearts of Iron supply lines, but stuff like that is still strategically satisfying. Like, I'll wait here 1 turn, then he uses his open border friendly movement bonus to pop out around the mountains. Okay, yeah. Oh, well, this time he'll surely get me. Nope, thanks for the EXP. Yeah, Harbor's not a bad build here. Let's just do local defense. I mean, he could take the city. It doesn't really have any infrastructure. Like, if it falls and I lose buildings, I don't really care. He's gonna lose... Well... In fact, even though I withdrew, I still gained that 1 EXP, right? Yes, you still gain experience from withdrawing, okay. He almost died, but... If he takes the city, I'm not going to try to retake with cavalry when I have so much fresh infantry. If he takes the city, I can easily retake it. And yeah, no, I'm not in a bad position here. Let's just explore the Scandinavians with this guy. Yeah, +6 is fine. He's gonna attack directly, probably. No, he's gonna... Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. Whoops. Alright, comes down to these two guys. Alright, that was close. In fact, I'm curious what the odds were. 3.1, like, low, but still on the radar. Cottage is destroyed by a marauding skirmisher. Oh, yeah, on this hill, I don't care. This is a war zone, dude. You act like I care. Six, that's a bold move, though, risking a general. For a promotion, 85%. I think Alexander would do it. This is strategically stupid, but I'll do it. Sweet, and it got me another general. He conquered all but a woman. Okay, well. That's probably relatable to people other than Napoleon who conquered Europe and still simped for Josephine. Okay, so that was their strongest defender. Alexander killed him. He is gonna fail to really stop me from... Okay, one of these cities is on a hill. Like, I'm thinking if I do guerrilla, I'll tie up too much EXP for taking the city. He only had... Well, all of these are full strength except for that one immortal. I don't want to... Yeah... The whole... This isn't a great idea. Like, I could easily lose this unit, but I'll do it. And I did. Okay. That's fine. I'll just rebuild my skirmishers. They're not really going to help too much in taking cities. The first strike bonus is nice, but because it's a ratio of strength and I diluted it with so much basic infantry, they weren't going to get the recon aid really anyway, so that wasn't a bad choice. I will, however, devote a couple of these guys as throwaway hill attackers to get rid of his army. Yeah, 82% odd loss isn't great, but it happens. Do regular combat. Regular combat's not a bad idea at this point, especially with 100% odds. Okay. You know what? Alright, yeah. I would like to keep playing, but the way I'm recording this, fraps, it's uncompressed video. So the save, well, not the save, the video file I'm going to upload to YouTube is going to be like 300 gigabytes. And my hard drive literally is about to run out of room for that, so I record these, upload them uncompressed, and it takes like a day and a half, and then I delete the file once it's uploaded. I'm probably running out of hard drive room. The Persians invaded, we destroyed their counter stack. We really kind of have these cities in the bag, I think, but I just don't have enough time at the rate the file size is accruing to really see that through to the end. But I'm glad I got some decent progress. And hey, how nice! I didn't even notice that when I decided to randomly make this announcement. But it is 180, which is sort of a nice conventional point to make a stopping point. Yeah, so we wiped out the invading Persians. We got some more experience. We lost a couple units, skirmisher sadly among them. Alexander is going to get promoted next turn. These cities should fall like easily. And then we'll have a nice little empire spot here. We haven't explored the Persians. I'm not too scared of them, honestly. He might also, I'm not sure if he was very unlikely, but as I was saying earlier, unlikely. So if the Gandhi effect holds true, that wouldn't apply to him, but I don't know. It seems like this leader behavior doesn't really pan out in games. It's like the opportunism of the AI is stronger than their scripted personality, but whatever. It still makes for fun gameplay. But I think this is a good place to wrap it up. Came back, took this city. The Aztecs are, I mean, they're not like totally. I might lose some good units taking their cities, but like I think they're kind of out of the game. The Persians aren't at war with them. I'm pretty sure I can just sweep in and take these, and I'm kind of on the cusp of getting paper. I have a scientist. I'll found a medieval great work of science because I'm the first of all the civs I know for paper, so I can take my pick there. Then we can move into the mid game properly, but this is a pretty interesting campaign so far. The war between the Chinese and the Inca is still ongoing, albeit in kind of a phony since I can't see anymore. I don't know if he did anything with that stack, but if he took this city, I probably would have gotten a notification, and I don't think we did, so we'll finish this off here. This is a desert. I won't settle into it, but we'll consolidate after that most likely and consider our next steps. But anyway, for those of you who have been patiently waiting along, thank you for your patience and thank you for watching. I don't intend to wait another month before the next upload, but once again, my intent to finish this through is entirely resolute. It's just this doesn't have the highest priority in my limited leisure time, but rest assured, I'll make sure to finish this out. So, thank you for watching. This is the Ashard Het signing off.